How are you doing? It is Friday Night Live, and if you're here, then that means there's more than just the three of us. So, welcome. Thank you for stopping in. I think this hour is going to be, I think it's going to be a great hour. I think it's going to be very interesting. Let me just say right quick hello to all the moderators. Hello, Claudette, and everyone else that's coming in. So my special guest tonight is Chance. Chance contacted me. Actually, I guess Chance, welcome. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad you took the step forward. And just to let the audience know, hello, Sarah. How are you doing? Hello, Claudia. You contacted me and you wrote me an email that you had been I guess, a user of meth, and how your description of how you saw this was unlike anything else that I had read from someone. And I thought that your perspective would be very enlightening. The other thing that as you and I got to know each other through the emails, your family has an interesting history, does it not? Particularly where Roswell is concerned.
Yeah, that's right, Wayne. My family actually owns the Strickland Ranch, which was right next to Brazel Ranch. And the wreckage from the crash, you want to call it that, spread over both ranches. And my grandmother was the last living eyewitness to the whole account. She died about 7 or 8 years ago. And her name was Sally Tatalini, and her official FBI affidavit is still available online.
Well, could we share? Could you share that story with us? Because I'm not aware of it, so I'd love to hear. I mean, this is family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have witnesses and you have stories, but when it's like family, and when the hierarchy is concerned, grandma, that's pretty solid.
Absolutely. Well, she was 9 years old when it happened, so I mean, her memory of it comes from the memory of a 9-year-old perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously, she actually came into contact with the actual material from the wreckage, and her famous quote was that it looked like tinfoil, but it felt like a very smooth satin leather, and it crumpled up like tinfoil. But when you laid it on the table, it would smooth itself out completely without any wrinkles or anything, and it would feel like leather.
Very interesting. Someone asking, could you lean closer to the your mic if you could? People are they're excited. They're going to go like, "Hey, man, I want to hear this." So this is very interesting. So the material was, we heard the same thing before, that it had this texture that it could be folded up, but at the same time unfold itself.
Yeah. Yep. That's her eyewitness account, and there's rumors that some of that still might be around somewhere, but I've never seen it myself.
Oh, I'm sure it's somewhere. I have a feeling by now we've so much reversed engineered that yeah. So, Chance, your story is one that it's interesting. I felt for you, as an empath, when I read people's stories, some of them are really saturated with energies, and your was. So you actually come from here in Colorado, and a good family, and you had a story of how meth came into your life. You want to just tell that story, because I think it's really interesting how you see it from the perspective of what it does to one's spirit as well, and what the spirits that are with it.
Absolutely. Well, my childhood was great. I grew up with a fantastic family, amazing mother. She raised me as a single mother up until I was about 12, when she was remarried to my stepdad, and he's a fantastic guy as well. And I was the only child for a long time. She had another kid, my baby sister, who I loved greatly. And I was pretty much just your all-American story. I played football. I got straight A's in high school. Um, I was the student council president, all state and everything. I eventually went on to play college football at Chadron State University and then transferred to CSU Pueblo, where I graduated from there. And I had dreams of becoming a fireman. That's the only thing I was ever interested in. And I got in a little bit of trouble right after I graduated. There was a party at a lake, and I passed out in the wrong RV, and it was an honest mistake, but I ended up with a felony charge over it, felony trespassing. It was the neighbor's RV, and I was supposed to pass out in the other RV, and it was, just a drunken, stupid mistake. Like I've had a lot of.
Which everyone at that age does.
Yeah. Well, they came down on me pretty hard.
Really? I mean, that's very sad.
Yeah. Well, I've came to a place where I think everything happens for a reason, 100%. That just wasn't it wasn't his vision, and I'm okay with that, because if it wasn't for all those things that I went through, I wouldn't be near where I'm at right now. And I wouldn't have near the understanding that I do right now of everything and the way this world works, and my spiritual fitness and maturity is just, I'm very, very grateful for it. Every single one of my mistakes, I'm very grateful for them.
That's an interesting perspective. I think next week I'm going to be teaching directly on that part of cleaning the house, so to speak, is that when we look at our place in life right now, we're here because of decisions we've made. And so often we want to rationalize them, justify them as to why, instead of taking the personal responsibility. And that's what I was really taken with what you had written in your email.
Yes, sir. So after I received that felony charge, I was no longer able to be a fireman. So I found the oil field, and that's inevitably where I found meth. And it's pretty much all downhill from there. But I will say this, not everybody makes it out. I have the good fortune that I made it out when I did. But the things that I learned during that trip, I was a pretty heavy user for about 6 years, and things that I've seen and experienced is absolutely incredible. And it's taken me to a place. I don't want to sound like I'm condoning drugs whatsoever, but if it wasn't for that, I'd still be asleep. I'd still have the old beliefs that I was raised with. I would still think that everything was as it seems, and Santa Claus would still be real, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. So can I ask you something? I was quite taken back. So in the oil field, I would not have thought that, but apparently is it pretty much widespread in usage?
Well, it used to be. It's not anymore at all. They've cleaned it up completely and totally. Like it's almost unheard of, unseen. And if it is, you're ran off immediately now.
Right.
It was notorious for it back in the day, but they've done an amazing job cleaning house. I commend them for that.
Cool. So, and I can actually relate to what you're saying as far as sometimes how in certain spirits this opens up a door and a channel. And kind of tell us your story on that, because I find it fascinating. What led you through the passage to where you are now?
Well, when I first started, it was really fun. It was glamorous. It was mysterious. It was taboo. It was all the things. All the pretty colors. And that's how it works. They'll get meth is a loan shark. Like it'll give you everything up front and make you feel so amazing, and then it'll take absolutely everything you have on the back end, and it won't, and you won't even know it until it's gone. And
I love that. That's a great metaphor.
Recognize yourself. You say, what happened? Because it's such a subtle, secretive, very, very underhanded trick that they play that it steals people's soul piece by piece, and so small of pieces that they don't even realize. And that was how it used to be. It's not like that anymore. When you do it now, you can literally feel yourself melting. Like you feel yourself falling away from yourself. And I know that sounds weird, but it feels like chunks of yourself are leaving yourself, and it's a very, very weird, very bizarre feeling. But I undoubtedly know that it is your soul, it's your essence, it's your life force being stolen from you. And that captured my attention in a really big way. And I knew the whole time that I was doing this that I was in it, but I wasn't of it. I was not of it whatsoever. And I knew that there was a reason that I was in it. To be honest, I hated it. I absolutely hated doing it. It never turned. In the beginning, I liked it. In the end, in the middle times, it was hell every single time. But that hell was so intriguing to me because I knew that there were so many answers and so many things that most people weren't aware of that I was aware of, that it was very important that I figure this out. So I kind of, I considered myself like a deep cover agent for quite some time. And, I put my faith in my father that he'd pull me out when the time was right, and he did. And I'm doing amazing right now. I got a baby girl on the way, and I'm extremely excited about that. It's my first kid, and I'm cleaning.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's cool. I can tell you that's an experience. So I like to focus in on you said you could actually feel it taking that, I think you called it I liked it, the loan shark. Yeah, it feels good in the front and you're going to pay the interest on the back. How true. So there is an expression in that realm.
Ain't no such thing as free cocaine.
Yeah, yeah. That there is, in fact, a presence that is associated. And you said you could actually sense that.
In the beginning, I could sense it, and it drove me crazy because I knew where it was, and I couldn't see it. But as time progressed, gifts were given to me, and I could see it. And I'm going to tell you how it all works. Okay, and it's very sinister, and it would take a lot longer than this one show to explain everything. But essentially, it's one of the most powerful tools of witchcraft and black magic that exist, bar none, 100%. It's a tool of manifestation. It's a tool of energy vampires. It essentially allows you to become a vehicle to entities, lower vibrational entities, energies. Okay, so think about crystals, amethyst, whatnot.
Yeah, got some right here.
Trapped within the crystalline structure. Okay.
Here's one from Karen that said, so go on. I love this. I like where this is going.
Back in the day, it used to be, old school biker dope, and that was a powder, and it was called speed, or White Crosses, whatever. That totally got wiped out. That's non-existent today. You can't find it if you try, and it was all replaced by crystal meth, cooked and given out in a crystalline form, a crystalline structure. And that's how it all works. They trap these entities, demons, whatever you want to call them. They trap it within the crystalline structure. And in New Mexico and Mexico, especially in Mexico, where the Santa Muerte is very prominent, they perform chants and rituals and actual set things that they do to call forth these spirits, trap them within the crystalline structure, and then release them out to the public. Then the public puts this into their bloodstream, okay? So back in the day, people used to smoke it a lot. That's almost non-existent now too. It is almost exclusively shot these days. People shoot up. When you do that, you're putting the full force of that entity straight into your bloodstream, which is the soul's house. It's the protector of the soul. And these entities are flowing through your bloodstream with little pickaxes and shovels, essentially mining your ness. And ness is a term that I came up with. It's your first name plus ness. It's the only thing like it on earth. It's your soul. It's your essence. It's your you-ness. It's your Wayne-ness. It's your chance-ness. It's yours, and there's none other like it. And certain peoples are bigger and stronger and more powerful than others. And those are the ones that get sucked in the most because that's the stuff that they want, That's why some people can do this for years and years and not very many people, but some people can do it forever and come out looking completely okay because they have a really big tank of ness, but some people don't have that much. And it completely destroys them. You see people that have done this for a year and they come out looking like a skeleton version of themselves.
Yeah. So can we stop here, Chance? Because I want to step back a little bit because this is critical information that I have never heard. I've did some researching, and I can tell you I've never heard this. It's not out there. So let's stop this for a second. So number one, let's start with the key point here: crystal meth. All right, let's step this back. We know what crystals can do, how they can channel, how they can hold, how they can contain energy. Now,
Absolutely.
you said something that I had never considered, that these drug lords, these cartels, all very well spell speaking when you think about it. Cartels, you look at these
Yeah,
drug lords.
absolutely.
So they're invoking witchcraft while
Absolutely.
they're manufacturing. By the way, this is not natural. Someone wrote to me and said, you're wrong. This
Well,
is manufactured.
I'll tell you where it came from. World War II, Hitler. The first time it was ever released to the public, Hitler gave it to the Nazis in World War II, and he got it from an interdimensional being. He said he had a dream with the chemical equation, and then he kidnapped a Chinese physicist and made this Chinese physicist mass produce it, and he gave it to all the Nazis during World War II. Now,
Doesn't surprise me.
now what you know about Hitler is that they reverse engineered all types of alien technology.
Yeah.
You know, that's a fairly well-known thing. Okay, so same principle. They gave him some magic too. You know, they didn't just give him technology. They gave him a means to completely allow demonic entities to use his soldiers as vehicles.
We see, now that's the point that I don't think people get, is the fact that in the manufacturing process, you know, as you were talking, what I'm getting is in the Superman, the first movie, Superman with Christopher Reeves in it, how they were put into that crystal and put into, you know, exile. Chance, this is big. This is big, because this is where I think I'm making connection to where the portal is. They're actually imprinting demonic. Yeah. Holy
Yes,
crapola.
absolutely, 100%. You're right on. And here's the other thing. These cooks, they have several different recipes, and they can cook it to a certain pH that's going to lower your vibrations and lower your frequencies to match those of vibrational entities. Okay.
This is I can't tell you, you know, you need to write a book. I'm just telling you right now, get off your butt and write a book about this, because this is absolutely groundbreaking. This is, folks, this is literally breaking news. Think about what has been unleashed on us.
Absolutely. And it allows yourself to become a vehicle and a conductor of dark energy. Okay, a little interesting thing about myself, I'm Rh negative. Okay, and that means that I have a whole lot of copper in my blood, a whole lot, way more than normal people. Copper's a conductor. When I would introduce that shit to my blood, excuse my language.
No, go ahead. No, that's all right. We're adults here.
Introduce that stuff to my bloodstream. The copper would conduct the energy at such a magnificent, it would be way more powerful than most people. So the amount of damage that I did to the people around me was horrible, because everywhere that I went, they were affected by what I did because of the conduction of the energy in me.
Okay, Chance, can I ask something? I've never used meth. My time was in 1970, 71. I mean, it was, you know, psychedelics and pot.
Acid is also a crystalline structure.
Well, now that was very interesting, because I was going to bring that up, because acid is measured in microns.
Yeah.
Which is that. Now, in meth, in crystalline meth, how, this is what I'm getting, so help me on this. As an alchemist, we lay this out in sheets, then it's broken up, and it seems like we're doing multiplications of entity upon entity upon entity as it's fractured down and down and down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Holy crap, folks. Are you getting this, folks?
They can cook this stuff at any pH that they want, and that pH determines where your vibrations are going to go. These lower vibrational entities they all have their own certain frequency. They all have their own certain vibration. It's almost like turning a dial on your radio station to tune into these things. And it allows them to overtake you and use you as a vehicle. Like you're the horse and they're the rider. They hop on and do thy bidding through you. And that is point blank, no bullshit. That is how it is.
I had a friend that worked at a time with the DEA, and the interdiction force that he was assigned to, their biggest fear was coming in up on these meth labs. As he said, not only is it toxic, he said the smell is, he said, you'll never forget it. And I don't, and as we're sitting here talking, holy crap. I mean, and
plain sight. It's hidden right there in plain sight, but not everybody can see this. Not everybody has the tools to put it together. Okay, I was blessed with the sight of vision and perception. I can perceive and see a whole lot of things that a whole lot of people can't. And that's greatly aided in my ability to put this whole puzzle together. And that's what I'm attempting to do tonight, is expose this for exactly what it is. Because
well, go, buddy. You got a platform. Take it.
I thank you greatly for that. I mean, like it's very important that people realize that when they introduce that stuff to their blood, they are handing the thieves a key to their house. They're making an agreement. They're saying, here, I'm going to do this. You go ahead and take what you need. But they don't know that they're doing that. They have no idea. They think they're just going to get high and go have fun and be crazy for a while. They have no idea that they're being robbed blind.
Holy crap. Can we just stop here a second? So this is where I bring my take into this story. So you think about, we're talking the blood here. You talked about elements of copper. I have a tendency in my body to also over manufacture copper.
Can I please cut in real quick?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, so copper is an interdimensional tool as well. Sesame seeds are very, very high in copper. Open sesame.
Bravo.
And that is another thing that old school witchcraft would do. They would eat sesame seeds like crazy before performing their rituals, because initially it opens dimensions within you and it allows things to pass through you. Copper is very important. That's why the Rh negatives have all these weird things about them that most people don't, because we have almost 4 times the amount of copper.
Sesame. Holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chance, this is absolutely, I'm telling you what, the people that didn't have a chance to tune in live to this, and they're going to be watching. Hi, Anja, how you doing? This is freaking phenomenal stuff. So this copper, and it's interesting because you look at all religions, they all deal with the blood.
Absolutely.
Your description of when a person injects this directly into their bloodstream, holy shit!
Without breaking it down, listen. When you do that, you're not allowing your body's metabolizing mechanisms to do their job. When you smoke it, your lungs have to break it down, and you burn it, and you don't get near the effect. When you snort it, you have to digest it. It has to soak through the skin. It has to do all that stuff. When you inject that straight into your veins, you are getting the full force of that entity. It is literally handing him the reins. It's handing him the key to your car, the key to your house, the key to your soul. And he's going to use you and abuse you and make you look stupid and make you do things that you would never, ever do sober. And then he's going to leave you feeling like a fucking idiot and broke off your ass.
Yeah. People are, you just have to bear with his sound. I mean, no, it's all right. People can hear this. Folks, this is amazing because I look at this from the perspective now that what I see now is a full-scale invasion.
Absolutely.
Of these entities that are now living in people throughout America. I'm sure it's in other places of the world. It's a devastating in the heartland, where people you would think are isolated. And what we're seeing now, we understand.
Let me tell you something. About 5 years ago, it was maybe $200-300 for an 8 ball of meth. $40 right now. And it's
Oh,
pure
40.
it has ever been in its entire existence. It is the most pure, most potent, and the cheapest it has ever been. The streets are completely flooded with it. Overran 100%. And you got all these people out there that are addicted to it. They're so confused. They can't figure out why all these weird things are happening to them and what all these little shadow creatures are running around. And then anytime anybody tries to talk about it, they say, oh, you're just high. You fucking dumb tweaker. You don't know what you're talking about. Quit doing drugs. Well, no, man. You do that. It takes an investigator. It takes somebody to get in there, an investigative journalist. The whole time I was taking notes, like I knew this day would come. And in my heart, I knew that it was all for a reason. Nobody realizes this stuff, and it would have allowed them to continue and continue and continue. And I do, Wayne, I do have plans on writing a book about a whole lot of things, but this is that topic being one of the major ones. Because it needs to become mainstream information. It needs to get out there, because I'll tell you what, once I figured it out, it made it almost impossible for me to do it. And if I did talk myself into doing it, absolutely did not enjoy it at all. I hated myself the second I did it, because I would try to prove to myself that it was all just in my head and it can't be that. And let's try this one more time. It was never, ever good, ever. And it was just a reaffirmation of my own intuition every single time.
Yeah, yeah.
Back was the mystery. It was the mystery. I was addicted to the mystery and the means and the whole thing, because I wanted to figure it out. I was obsessed, and I'm still a little bit obsessed with figuring it out, but I've figured out a lot of it out. So I'm to a place.
Well, I don't think anyone has ever, Chance, looked at this from two different ways. Number one, I think from a spiritual connotation that we're really literally talking about spirits. I mean, alcohol has always been known as spirits. And the distilling process dates back, it's an alchemy process. But what concerns me here is to think that they're invoking spiritual entities while they're making this.
They are invoking them, and then they are being evoked. They're putting them into you, and they live and operate you through you.
Let's take this up a step.
You're not yourself when you're on it, and you don't have control. You're in the past.
No. Yeah. Well, that's the one thing about LSD, is that I always knew I was still at the wheel. Sometimes the alignment was out, but listen, we've got to talk about this, because I'm seeing something much bigger here. So when we get and we look above the physical realm, and I'm seeing, I think the latest estimates I read somewhere today, they said some 60 million people are using methamphetamines. And it's one of the all-encompassing, we welcome everybody, doesn't matter who you are. Now, that's an army.
Oh, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is an army. And that's exactly how they operate. I've seen people do this, and here's another thing. Okay, when you do meth, you don't eat for days, and you don't sleep for days. That is forced fasting, and you're fasting without even trying to, or so fasting and sleep deprivation are one of the two main ways.
I mean, put yourself in a freaking trance.
Absolutely. So when you're fasting for days and you're sleep deprived for days, you're in a very weakened state, and that allows even more greatly for these things to completely control you and completely take you over. Same thing as a sweat lodge, or doing it for good purposes. When you fast and you stay up for days just to connect with a spirit or whatever, you're taking the armor and the shield of God off. When you put that stuff in your blood, your shields go down completely, 100% disarmed, and you are wide open and vulnerable for attack. And not only that, the second you do it, it's like there's a screen somewhere, and you become a bright flashing light on that screen, and these things just flock to you.
Well, here's the thing that I'm becoming very concerned about, because what I'm seeing there's a residual energy. So now you have 60 million individuals who are using 24 hours a day. This is the energy that is being literally put off. So think about this. This can become an unseen element that can dissuade politics, can dissuade, yeah.
Absolutely. Hitler took meth injections on a daily basis. He had a doctor that followed him around to give him 2 or 3 shots a day of that stuff. So, I'd go so far as to say that Hitler didn't even, the man himself, he was a tool. He was a puppet.
So in your research, Chance, may I ask, I want to know who the top guy is, who's in the wheelhouse, who's driving the ship here.
See, now that's a topic that I could go into very deeply, and I probably get in some trouble for saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. It's my opinion, okay? Because I've heard a lot of rumors in the underworld, and I'm very familiar with the underworld, very, very familiar, that high-level government officials will bust these cooks. They'll bust them, and then they'll say, listen here, you can either do the rest of your life in prison, or you could sell this stuff and call it your own. I'm going out on a limb here saying this, but I'm telling you right now that a lot of this stuff comes from Mexico. A lot of it comes from your low-level cook shacks. But I think, and I don't want to say government manufactured, but they that be manufactured that runs our government is literally flooding our streets with this stuff completely.
So who's the spirit? That's what I want to know. I want to know who is the archon that is, I can see man, that's why I got out of politics. Every man will always disappoint you, but I want to know, and this is the elusiveness that I can't seem to nail down. Who's the archon?
I'm going to tell you that right now. Well, there's many, many different ones. Okay. So a very rich, very powerful archon isn't going to drive an old beater car around. Okay. So he's not going to pick some low level tweaker on the streets that looks like a human skeleton walking around. He's going to pick a good looking, charismatic, somebody with influence, suitable vehicles. That's what I mean about vibrations matching up. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, I mean, I agree with you.
Level archons hop onto the most suitable vehicle, the ones that they can do the most damage with, based on the characteristics and personality of the person using. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Well, low-level archons, low-level entities, they can pick from the masses of bled dry already users and addicts out there. And that's the thing. Like when I did it, it was the craziest thing because it was so powerful that it would affect everybody around me. Everybody. I would do it completely by myself in my house. Nobody else was awake at all. The second I would do it, the entire house was up, running around, acting insane, crazy. They were acting like they did it, but they didn't. It was me. And it was my energy that was, it was not my energy.
So let's talk about this a second. So
it causes chaos. It throws everybody around you into a state of chaos, and they can't figure out why.
Well, see, that's a lot of energy, Chance. That Absolutely. Is a lot of energy.
Essentially, your battery. And when you do that stuff, your battery goes like this. But that energy goes somewhere. It floods out. You open the floodgates, and it floods out. And this is how energy vampires work as well. Like I said, they can cook this stuff to certain pHs. So there's a pH that will completely drain your battery, and there's a pH that will allow you to suck up others. So, and I know this very, very well. Most people in the know, the people in the underworld that know how this stuff works, they won't even do it. They'll invite a whole bunch of people over and say, "Hey, let's all get high," and they won't do it. They'll shoot theirs on the ground, acting like they're hitting your vein, but they'll just veer off and squirt it. Everybody else's energy just starts flooding out of them right into the person that didn't do it. Or if they did do it, they did it with a charged or a pH cooked level with the opposite polarity that allows you to suck it up. It's literally a harvest of energy, soul, whatever you would call it, life force, stealing people's batteries, stealing people's juice.
Well, I tell you, Chance, this is This is bringing up for me because there's a lot of empaths on this, and we can sense the energy. And, I haven't ever looked at this is from a hierarchy position of actually using dark magic in this. This is to think that this is originated from the incantations of, as you eloquently said, invoking and evoking the spiritual realm into this. This is why I say favor. The only thing that can combat this, because this is a dark magic. This is Anja. Would you agree with that? You're in here. I can see that you're in here. Fascinating subject and guest. Yeah, Brian, it is. People are saying, I think they're enjoying this conversation. So, Chance, what is your goal here now? I mean, you've been aware of this. You've experienced this. I think that I don't know. Have you ever gone through a cleansing process to?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. You want to talk about that maybe?
Well, I mean, yeah, orange juice is one thing that can get it out of your system really quick. You go to a sauna and it'll sweat out almost immediately. But when it does, like, everybody around you is affected by it. You know what I mean? So I don't even like going to, I don't do this anymore. I want to throw that out there. I am completely clean and sober right now, but.
I think he's nervous, folks. He's nervous. I mean, a lot of people come on here are nervous. Let me ask you something. I'm trying to wrestle with this because I think that there's a residual. This is powerful. I mean, when you begin to have spirit entities injected into human beings, into the body, I don't think they want to leave. I think even
not. Here's the thing, though. They can't hold your vibrations for very long. And as soon as that stuff wears off, your armor, your shield, it comes back on and they got to go.
Interesting. So we're dealing with vibration, rhythm, and frequency here. I hadn't thought about that.
100%.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
As soon as your vibrations raise back up to your level, they got to go. They can't hold it. They can't hold them. So they're forced out.
So
your vibrations as the shield and the armor of God.
I like that. Listen, I'm right in line with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. So where do you want to go with this? I mean, this is a huge problem. And I can see it that when a person is under the influence, and boy, isn't this really apropos? I mean, you talk about under the influence, you literally, unlike alcohol, I mean, you've got something in you that is, I don't know many moonshiners or distilleries that stand over and do incantations. It's like, well, Martha, this batch is really going to get them.
Yeah, there's actually, somebody did write a book on this. I haven't got it. I haven't read it yet, but I'm very, very excited to. It's called Meth Equals Sorcery. And on the front, if you want to pull it up, you'll see it has a picture of a sorcerer, a magician, standing over a big black kettle with all kinds of spirits and demons going from the ground into that kettle.
Huh.
And think about a witch's brew and their kettle. And they're, it's all potions, powders, and it's ancient old. It's just meth is the new means.
Brad, I just want to say, I think you may be right. I think we're onto something here. Chance is really bringing something out that, you get inoculations, you get vaccines, you get, flu shots, etc. And again, using the same principle, they're injecting live viruses into us that our body would naturally build antibodies. Go ahead.
Okay, so I forgot to bring this up earlier. The majority of meth is cooked, but there's another means to produce it, and it's grown. It is grown, and it must be grown 3 feet underground in an enclosed jar with a string that goes from the top to the bottom, and it grows upward on this string.
Really?
I promise you. Look it up. This is all verifiable. It is grown, and it has to be under 3 feet deep. It has to be deeper than 3 feet deep. And that, if you are familiar,
I know exactly what they're doing down there. So that's interesting.
There's a whole lot to do with the deeper than 3 feet. I mean, that's very pertinent.
How much of it's done that way?
Knowledge knows that 3 feet, you have 3 feet of protection. Any deeper than that, That's where, it's where things reside.
Well, it's where they say the entrance. You can rather take it to the halls of Amante. You can take it to the underworld.
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
can.
Here's the other thing about it. It has a shelf life. Okay. The stuff that's grown, if you look at it under a microscope, it has a pulse.
Wow.
I promise you, it breathes. And if you keep it enclosed, it'll die. It has to breathe. It is alive. It's a fungus and it is alive. I promise you, this is all verifiable if you do.
No, 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 no. I don't doubt the veracity of your statement. It's just holy crap. That's all I can say. This is interesting. So, and then you got the cook part. Now, that's I'm sure it's just it's a I guess a quick way to distill it that again produces this thing. And I hadn't really looked at it so much about the injection part, Chance. You really opened my eyes on that aspect of, and then with particular bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why this is. You're right. We've all seen the meth user that, like you said, it looks like they've aged 60 years.
Oh, absolutely. They've been robbed blind.
Yeah, and it just sucks that energy, right?
That's why they call it a fast life or go fast.
Go fast.
Gone.
Wow.
Fast life.
So let me ask you something. When you felt this presence coming in, was it one that just basically seduced you? Because, I have been in those environments, particularly where drugs are concerned, where it seems to be a seductive spirit. Would you say that this is
the most seductive spirit you can possibly imagine? You have an uncontrollable sexual urge, deviant sexual urge. You would do things that you would never, ever,
really
ever do. It is the most sexual drug you'll ever do in your entire life.
I feel like such a neophyte. It's like, wow, really?
It is so powerful. And that right there in and of itself is what keeps people coming back. That's why it's so big in the homosexual community. That's why it's so big.
Okay, so holy crap. This is some intense energy drain.
Absolutely. Sex magic is huge.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't tell people to deal in that. It's you want to get in some weird vibrations, that'll actually get you some weird vibrations.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so this is really interesting. So the seductiveness of the drug itself, you shoot it into you. So it's got crystalline entities already into it. You're unleashing these into your body. Then you're invoking the lowest chakra of the human body itself.
Malkuth.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. But the one that will, drain the most energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So who's sucking on the other end? I mean,
that's I think the people that know about this, they all get their cut. The dealer gets a little, the cook gets a little, the people that put the cook in power get the majority of it. And I don't want to speculate without any definitive proof or evidence, but I'd say it's some of the people you least expect. As far as like high level trusted people that should be getting this shit off the streets.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a reason for it being out there. I mean, this is just, I got to tell you, it weighs my spirit down because I sense this. And what I sense is that the mainstream media, politicians, law enforcement officials will never listen to us.
No, they'll write you off as crazy. I've been written off crazy by so many people, but I'm so sick of that I came to a place where I put it so eloquently and I can back it up with fundamental principles of vibration. I can back it up with, very thought out. Essentially, I've came up with a way of presenting this that people can't argue with.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, you're just going to get written off as a nut job. And that happens so often. They call it psychosis.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked about that today on delusional, because that's what they're going to say you are, is delusional.
Yeah. No.
But But,
Veil has just been lifted.
you know, I know guys, I know cops that, Anja, I want you to think about this. I know I see you in the chat room. In fact, Anja, give me a second here. I didn't know this. So, folks, we need to think about incantations that can counter this. This is a strong, strong force.
I'll tell
And
you.
go ahead, Chance. Go ahead.
When I was under the heaviest, worst attacks you can possibly imagine, I mean, horrible. You can literally feel yourself being fed on, but you can't do anything about it physically. Okay, so I tried a bunch of things. Always in the name of Jesus Christ, leave. That worked, but it only worked for a little while. They'd leave. I mean, they'd leave, and you'd hear the entire house shake. You'd hear doors slam. You'd hear things rumble. I mean, you could literally hear and see.
I don't doubt that.
Clapping. Okay, so anyway,
did they convert to Christianity? That's what I'm asking.
That would last all of 5 minutes, and they'd be back. Okay, so through a lot of understanding and spiritual growth and research and stuff, and exactly what you talk about, your name is power. It's very powerful. And I came to the point in the end of my use, right before I quit, where I would say, and please, I'm not calling myself the Christ, but I would say, in the name of Christ, Chance Tatalini, I command all energies, entities, and lower vibrational energies out indefinitely and immediately. You may not return. And boom, it was like an enormous weight lifted off you. You could breathe again. You could,
well done, my friend.
Power is in that statement right there. Christ right before your name.
What? That doesn't surprise me at all.
That is giving your higher self the authority to banish them.
And in my Bible studies, and my friend Jeff Doherty would be here, it's interesting because Paul, we know about the 7 brothers that had the demons. And the chief demon said, well, the guy that came in there says, well, in the name of Paul, who is in the name of Christ, I command you to leave. And, the chief demon said, well, Paul, I know. This Christ I know, but who the hell are you?
Yeah.
And, the guy didn't have any faith in himself. So that is powerful. So you begin to invoke your sovereignty.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a cloud consciousness above you at all time, a formless, shapeless version of yourself that if with a little bit of know-how, you can get in direct contact with this and have audible conversations. Okay. And that's a whole nother show. But anyhow, essentially when you do that stuff, you're tying his hands behind his back and he has to sit there and watch you suffer. Okay. Until you untie those ropes. And you do that by empowering him. You say, in the name of Christ, Chance Tatalini. And that literally unshackles him and he's allowed to go in there and shred them all.
Ooh, powerful spiritual warfare, folks. This is
interdimensional spiritual warfare, 100%. You just have to know where your bodyguard stands, and you have to put your faith in him and give him the power that he deserves.
Well, I think having faith in yourself too, because my
whole by yourself. You have to
gotta have it yourself.
That's exactly what I mean.
Wow, this is. I tell you, the thought that these drug cartels that are shipping this in, and I'm sure it goes for cocaine now as well. Had never really, although the process.
Cocaine's almost non-existent. I mean, it's so hard to find cocaine anymore. It is meth everywhere.
Everywhere.
They say meth is very demonic. Heroin's the devil. It'll take you in one go. It doesn't take you piece by piece. It'll take your whole deal in one go. I've never messed with heroin in my entire life. Thank my God.
I have such a fear of needles. So anytime someone said, hey, I said, man, you're not sticking this earth suit, man. You're just not doing it. But so I tell you, it disturbs me to think that someone is so devious in attacking.
They're vampires, man. See,
No, that I mean that's probably one of the most accurate descriptions I've heard.
This goes much deeper, and we could probably do a whole show on the vampire aspect of it. But let me essentially tell you this: when your battery goes all the way out, you lose it. It becomes a dead battery. You become a dead battery, and the only way to survive, to maintain yourself, is to steal juice from other live batteries. When your divine spark goes out, you can't recharge your battery. You're disconnected from source. So you're left with a dead battery, AKA you're a vampire. Okay. So the only means to sustain yourself is to steal the spark of somebody else. Polarity, positives and negatives.
Yeah, I get this. So wait a minute. So what you're saying is a user can get to the point where they no longer have any.
You can definitely put your spark out. Absolutely.
And still walk around in the body.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I don't know. I've never been there, thank God. But I'm not, it is the.
No, you bring up a really good point.
It's them, but it's a remnants of what they once were.
Chance?
It's not them. They lost their nest. They lost their chance nest. They lost their first name plus nest. They lost that. And the only way for them to sustain themselves is to steal it from people that still have some. And some people have a whole lot more than others. We don't all have the same amount because we take it with us. We come here with a certain amount. Some people are rich. Some people are dirt poor. And
well, I've contended.
Turns out it all has to do with how much you have,
No, I agree with you. There are those of us who, there are those spirits that have very high intensity, even deep reservoirs, and there's others that have very little. You just bring up this point that is so obvious and so relevant to what this is really about.
It's a soul harvest.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we really truly have the walking dead among us.
Absolutely, 100%. It's exemplified to us in movies and everything. It's right there in plain sight for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. Most people don't have that. They're just too busy being entertained.
My spirit guides have told me they're called they're in the spirit realm. They're called the soulless ones.
Absolutely, the soulless ones. That is exactly right.
Yeah. That's what I don't know if it's a he or she,
they are no
whatever.
Longer their own vehicle. They're not their own driver. They got somebody else driving them around.
You're helping me on some things because there is some people that are asking, all right, so what's going on in the world right now? We're seeing the floodgates of souls and spirits rushing into bodies. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. Not a time is known that's done this. And what we're not understanding is that on the onset 10,000 years ago, there were 6 other species on this planet. Today, there's only one.
They're still here. They just can't hold the vibrations of a physical form. They exist in the ether, the astral. That's where they exist. And these vampires, I'm going to tell you how it works. Okay, when you got an energy vampire in a room and everybody's getting high, right? They will essentially astral project out of their body, attach onto you, suck you dry, and bring it back home.
Well, I want to share a story with people. The first time I ever encountered a succubus was in a girl. It was and it was, there was almost sexual intercourse, but I have this gift, and that was not the real person who was there. And the manifestation of the succubus set me on a path decades ago to know that they're here. Now you're bringing up a point that makes a lot of sense, my friend. A lot of sense.
Yeah, they're definitely here. They're all over the place, man.
No kidding.
This is kind of I wrote this a little while ago, and it's very pertinent to this. It's actually a little bit arrogant on my part, but
no,
it is what it is. I said, this world and its deities take so much from me. It's a good thing that I'm filthy rich. Yeah, my dad's the king, so take what you need. Don't bother saying please. I got what you need, you poor dead batteries. You'll never beat nor batter me, so catch a charge from me. I charge no fees, and I pay no tolls to any of you trolls. I can't be robbed of what I give for free, so take from me what you need. you poor dead batteries. I'm filthy rich.
Well done, my friend.
And
I hope you write that book.
When you hoard it, that's when the hole gets punched in your bucket. If you stay directly connected to source, you never run out. And it's almost your job to charge these batteries, the dry bones in the desert, igniting dead souls. That's kind of what we're here for.
Well, it's edifying one another.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
But no man left behind. So I give it freely because I got more than I can ever use.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, you've really, the hour's coming to an end, Chance. You have really brought some enlightenment on a subject that is so often met with bigotry, social taboos, and extreme prejudice. And what we're not understanding is what happened. We're losing to something that is gaining an advantage upon us.
Yeah, absolutely. And the people that do this, I pity them. I feel for them. I hurt for them. I don't hate them. Absolutely not. I want to help them as much as I possibly can because I know firsthand that when you're on that stuff, it's not you making the decisions. So it's very, very sad what's happening. And I'll help any way that I possibly can. I'll give as much as I got to somebody that doesn't have any in hopes that I can maybe reignite that spark.
Chance, I am applauding you. So now what you do, are you going to get a YouTube channel? I mean, what is your plan? I know you still work, but you have a message.
I don't know. I've never, I mean, you can talk about that later.
Well, we'll talk later. I think that this is an opportunity. I think it's one, I'd like you to think about the aspect, from a former person that was a user, there is a certain logic that if you look at all the possibilities, the invoking of spells, protection for our law enforcement, but I also think there's a way to also bring fresh sunshine to this subject because
people that are balls deep into this stuff, they hate the sun. They hate
I
it.
bet they do.
It's like a laser beam that literally zaps that shit out of them. The sun is fantastic. Okay.
Well,
it's the sun. Sun's like a sun.
Yeah.
And one more point I want to make real quick before we're over here. The 144,000, the vast majority of them are addicts, ex-addicts that have gone through a refinement stage. They were allowed to be in it, but never of it. Okay, because we know that drugs as a whole raise our consciousness. Theory of 1 in 100 monkeys. Okay, God gave us a whole lot of this mess so that we would never be drained, so that we could get in the trenches and figure this out, completely destroy ourselves for the benefit of the mass collective, so that we could raise their consciousness through the theory of the 1 in 100 monkeys. One person catches an idea in their head. They don't even have to speak it, and the other 99 catch on somehow. Okay, so we're literally destroying ourselves for the benefit of the masses. And I really, addicts are so looked down upon. They're so judged that people have no idea what we're doing for them.
Yeah. Well, that's why, in this group, there are witches, there are masters, there are adapts, there's empaths. So yeah, we're getting our game plan together. Chance, listen, I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for coming forward. I've been watching the comments in the chat room, and people have really respect you and really appreciate the fact that you coming forth, and we'll have you back on.
Thank you so much, Wayne. Thank you to everybody that's watching. You have no idea how much.
You're a good man. You're a good soul. I like your energy, and
likewise.
We're going to help this. There's going to be more and more. They're going to be drawn to us, folks, and Chance's voice adds to the frequency and the vibration that are people that are looking for a way to do this, to help. We can come here and we can help heal them. And Chance,
if there's any addicts out there that are trying to get clean, you should look into Oxford houses. Oxford houses are amazing. They'll help you do it. They'll get you back on your feet. I mean, oxfordhousevacancies.com is off the top of my head how to get a hold of them.
Okay. Oxford House.
It's Oxford House, absolutely.
Okay.
It's a fantastic program, and they're doing big things in the state of Colorado and actually worldwide. But I mean, it's a very, very supportive community.
If you know anyone that's over there, I'd love to have them on. I'd love to have them on.
Oh, absolutely. I know somebody you would thoroughly enjoy talking to.
Well, give them my email and love to have them come on the Friday night show.
Awesome.
Would you do that?
That is absolutely fantastic.
All right, let's do that. Let's do that. And folks, next Friday night, going to have Warrior Princess on, Lois. We're going to do a fundraiser for her. We're going to fill up that food bank of hers. And so make sure, Chance, I respect you, my dear friend. Much honor and favor to you in your journey. You do have a light about you, and my friend, let it shine forth.
Thank you so much, Wayne.
All right. Thank you, everyone in the chat room. Thank you for everyone watching. Have a great weekend. Join Jeff and I. I'll be over on Jeff's channel on Sunday morning, Jeff Doherty, on our Not Your Normal Sunday Morning show. Chance, have a great weekend. We're going to have some great weather here in Colorado. So you and I'll be in touch, all right?
Absolutely.
All right, folks. Have a great one. We will see everyone really soon. All right, folks. Bye-bye.